All right, listeners, ready for a deep dive into a big one.
Oh, yeah, definitely a massive clash coming up in the Premier League.
Newcastle United taking on Nottingham Forest.
And this is huge for both sides.
Absolutely massive top four race is heating up.
Definitely is. And this game could really shake things up.
We've got Newcastle trying to snap out of a bit of a slump.
Yeah, they've been struggling recently.
Forest, on the other hand, they've been playing the role of giant slayer this season.
And let's not forget the history between these two sides.
Some real goal fest in the past.
Oh, yeah, so we should be in for an exciting one.
No doubt about it. So let's dive right in and see if we can uncover some key insights.
Sounds good. Let's get to it.
First up, let's talk about Newcastle's recent form.
Yeah, it's been a bit of a roller coaster.
More like a downward spiral lately,
True, they've lost more in their last 4 games than in the previous 12 combined.
which is pretty shocking considering how strong they've been for most of the season.
And a loss here would mean 3 straight defeats at home.
Yeah, that hasn't happened since 2021.
So the pressure's definitely on.
Big time. But hey, let's not forget they did just beat Arsenal at home.
Ah, yes, in the EFL Cup.
That must have been a huge confidence boost.
It should be, and they've actually been unbeaten against the top 3 teams this season.
Really? That's impressive. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, so maybe they just have a knack for rising to the occasion.
Maybe so. Maybe they saved their best performances for the big boys.
It's possible, but Forest are going to be a tough test.
For sure. They pulled off one of the most shocking results of the season a few weeks ago.
Oh, you're talking about that 7-0 win over Brighton?
That's the one biggest Premier League win in their history.
Absolutely incredible. And then what did they do?
Followed up with a loss to Fulham.
Classic Forest, right.
Talk about unpredictable.
One week they look like world beaters, the next they're back to their old ways.
But there's one trend that really stands out to me.
What's that?
They've scored first in more games than any other team this season.
That's true, but they also have a tendency to fall apart if they concede first.
It's like they can dish it out, but they can't take it.
Yeah, their mentality seems to shift dramatically depending on the scoreline.
So do you think it's a tactical thing?
I think it plays a big part. Their style is built around attacking, pressing, high-forcing errors.
So when they're ahead, they can really dictate the tempo.
Exactly, but when they go behind, they have to chase the game.
And that exposes their weaknesses.
Precisely. They become vulnerable on the counter, and their backline can get shaky.
So you're telling me they're actually good when they're not expected to win?
It seems that way. When the pressure is off, they play with more freedom, more creativity.
Now, that's an interesting thought. So let's look back at the head-to-head history between these two sides,
Well, Forest did beat Newcastle at St. James's Park last season.
which is pretty remarkable considering their overall record there.
Oh yeah, it was their first league win there since 1987.
Wow, that's a long time.
Over 3 decades.
So it's safe to say that Newcastle have had the upper hand historically.
Yeah, but there's one stat that really caught my eye. All 11 of Nuno Espirito Santo's games against Newcastle have seen both teams score.
Wait, really? Every single time?
Every single time.
That's wild.
So could we be in for another goal fest? I wouldn't bet against it.
I guess we'll have to wait and see. But that stat definitely adds another layer of intrigue to this match.
It does. Now let's talk about some key players to watch.
Okay, sounds good. Who are you keeping an eye on?
Well, for Newcastle, Alexander Isak is the obvious danger man.
He's been in fantastic form this season.
And he loves playing against Forest.
Oh, yeah.
He scored in every single league meeting against them.
So you're saying he's got their number?
It seems that way, and for Forest, Morgan Gibbs-White is the one to watch.
He's been on fire lately, 9 goal contributions in his last 11 games.
Yeah, he's a dynamic midfielder, loves to create chances.
But oddly enough, Newcastle is one of the few teams he hasn't scored against yet.
That's right. Maybe he's due for a breakout performance against them.
Well, this is shaping up to be a fascinating tactical battle.
It is. We've got a wounded Newcastle desperate for a win.
A Forest side that thrives when underestimated.
And a history that suggests we're in for a high-scoring thriller.
So what's your gut telling you? Can Newcastle overcome their home struggles and grab a crucial win?
You know, it's a really tough one to call. I mean, Newcastle, they need this win badly.
Yeah, they can't afford to drop any more points if they want to stay in the top 4 race.
Exactly. But Forest's unpredictability makes them so dangerous.
They could easily pull off another upset.
They absolutely could. I think we're going to see goals on both sides.
Oh yeah, I'd be shocked if this was a low-scoring affair.
But ultimately, I'm leaning towards a Newcastle victory.
Really? You think they'll edge it out?
Yeah, but only just, I think it'll be a tight one.
Well, you've definitely given me a lot to think about.
Me too. This one's a real head-scratcher.
So for our listeners out there, what should they be watching for? What are the key things to keep an eye on during the match?
Well, I think the midfield battle is going to be crucial.
Yeah, who can control the tempo? Who can dictate the play?
Exactly. And then, of course, you have to watch the individual matchups.
Isak versus Forest defense Gibbs-White trying to unlock Newcastle's backline.
Those are going to be key battles. And don't forget about set pieces.
Always a threat in a game like this.
Especially with both teams having so much attacking firepower.
So buckle up, folks. This is going to be a wild ride.
No doubt about it. Get ready for some end-to-end action.
And don't forget, Forest have actually been one of the best underdog bets in the league this season.
Yeah, they've won more often than not in those situations.
So maybe there's some value in backing them to pull off another upset.
It's definitely something to consider, especially if you're feeling lucky.
Well, I'm going to be watching this one with a whole new perspective after this deep dive.
Me too. You've given me a lot to think about.
And I'm sure our listeners are feeling the same way.
Hopefully, we've given them some food for thought.
That's always the goal. So thanks for joining us for another deep dive.
It's been a pleasure as always.
We'll be back soon with another exciting matchup.
Until then, enjoy the game.
And may the best team win.
Cheers to that.
Cheers.